But for Muzzy versus PNC, it might be as important as the featured match because both these guys, as you saw from the standings, are fighting for 4th place right now. Muzzy with the victory can move up to 5 and 6. PNC with a loss would be 5 and 6. And then the final game of the week, it could be all rearranged. It could shuffle, TJ.
It could. Ooh, you know I love me some shuffling, Dan.
Yeah. Some Showtime shuffling.
Yep. But yeah, it's going to be another unique matchup on the day, which is Warrior versus Rogue. Maybe not a unique matchup. Might have seen it earlier in the day. I don't know. Today's just kind of blended together. It's kind of been a weird day. We haven't talked about Hearthstone that much, which is the weird part. I think we're in that Saturday lull. I feel like we do this every Saturday. Where like Friday goes a little bit long, and then we come in on Saturday. We're just like we don't want to talk about Hearthstone today.
I want to talk about Hearthstone. I'm having fun.
Oh, we're talking about Hearthstone generally, but maybe not analyzing plays super in depth. But yeah, PNC versus Muzzy, Warrior versus Rogue. It is a bomb warrior. PNC did not follow the train of control warriors today with Eddie, Race, and Monsanto. There you go.
That's right. That's right. Said he has the bomb package with French Caliber, Clockwork Goblins, Archivist Feliciana, the usual stuff. His secondary deck, that's where it starts getting a little more interesting. He's actually playing a mech package himself to be proactive, including War Gears and Faceless Manipulator. What do you think about that, TJ?
It feels like it's good in theory, but in Europe Grandmasters earlier today, we saw RDU versus Pavel, where RDU, I believe in his main deck, had like that mech package to try and be proactive against Pavel. It's just kind of standard bomb warrior, and he got crushed. Now, small sample size, it's one best of 3, but you check out RDU's Twitter for his thoughts on what happened. And it just felt like it fell flat a little bit. Felt like it was like too slow to be a faster strategy, if that makes sense. Does that make sense?
It does make sense. And I totally understand too. It's kind of sad if you like prepare a deck list that's specifically for a matchup and you just lose anyways.
Yeah.
At the same time though, perhaps you're overthinking it, right? Like maybe it's one of those things where just a slight tech is important as opposed to a hard tech in that direction. Well, either way, we're not focusing on the Warrior Mirror. We're focused on Muzz versus PNC. Muzzy here with the Hench Clan Thug opening. Edwin Van Cleef on the play. Not very pretty. But if he picks up some combo cards with the Evil Miscreant, he'll be good to go.
Yeah, this version of Tempo Rogue from Muzzy, a little bit different than the couple of rogues we've seen from, say, Frozen and Dog over the course of the weekend for Grandmasters. He does have Hench Clan Thugs, as you can see in the mulligan. Does have double Eviscerate, the preps. Does have the Myra's Unstable Element because he has the extra direct damage and the extra aggression early on. So a little more focused on speed and a little less focused on value is Muzzy's version of the deck. We'll see it's going to pay off against Warrior. Traditionally, that does end up mattering. It does pay off. Muzzy, I think in what was it, week 3 or 4? Brought just good old-fashioned Tempo Rogue and was crushing Warriors left and right. A lot of it because they weren't expecting it, but also because it just seems like decks just aren't built to take down Waggle picks anymore.
Yeah, it seemed pretty difficult when opponents don't have weapon destruction, but then they have Waggle picks rotating in and out based off of their secondary and tertiary deck lists. For Muzzy, he does have the Hench Clan Thug, and he does have the Backstab. So he has options at his disposal to go for a Miscreant play or a Hench Clan Thug play, and it kind of depends on how PNC is going to set things up. This is probably one of the best reasons to play things like Snip Snap in the deck because you can curve out with mech synergies, and you can have Snip Snap magnetize onto these minions. Just threaten Muzzy either way.
I have a great idea for a card, Dan.
Okay, hit me.
It's called the Wiggle Pick. It's a 2-mana, 4 durability weapon.
Okay.
That reads Death Rattle, put an opponent's minion back in their hand, and it costs 2 less.
Who comes there?
It's pretty clever.
Good idea for a card.
It's a great idea.
And then you can wiggle waggle them.
That's right. You could equip for the wiggle, and then you could equip for the waggle. Override it, and then you can dagger to make it all nice and clean. 10 mana, vanish. 10 mana vanish, basically.
And then you'd have the great name for a rogue deck, which is Wiggle Waggle Wogue.
You've been hanging out with Oliver too much. And all that baby talk.
I wish he could have conversations with me. The only thing he does is he's starting to respond to like no, like when my wife and I tell him not to do something, like when he's starting to get into mischief.
Rendezvous!
That's very formal of you, Dan. But when you tell him no to do something, he looks at you and goes, ah!
Like father, like
That's how he converses. Ollie, no. Ah! Ah! He eventually stops, but...
Oh. Well, unlike father, unlike son.
I don't. I just grunt and continue.
Muzzy could try and potentially save this Henge Clan Thug with the Evil Cable Rat, but it's not guaranteed. He's just going to take the trade.
Yep.
Not worth risking it.
Does have a ton of Lackey generation next turn, and this is safe from the Dynamatic. So I like Town Crier plus Clockwork Goblin here, most likely.
And the Clockwork Goblin's coming in is currently, what? 2 bombs being shuffled in?
Yep. Dos
Oh
Bombas.
Dos Bombas. So for Muzzy, he picked up Backstab, and now I was thinking originally for the lackeys, but is there opportunities for other plays now that he can combo all this stuff? Like the Van Cleef would be pretty big.
Backstab, Evil Cable Rat, Van Cleef would give Edwin +8/+8, be a 10/10. That's quite large, Dan. And also in charge. I still like just Miscreants. You could follow up with Edwin Van Cleef with all the lackeys that you're going to generate.
It's true.
I mean, he's going to generate 6 lackeys here. Actually, going with the Evil Miscreant first is probably better just because he could actually go for lackeys instead.
Yeah, now he can Ethereal Lackey, Goblin Lackey to trade in. Still safe from the Dynamatic, at least at first glance.
Ooh, Sprint, Eviscerate. Wow. Okay.
Good stuff. Oh, he's just going to go for the Lackey.
Yep.
Makes sense.
Even though you... Oh! And it's a mech!
Damage, Degatron.
Drop the lackey.
It's the Wiggle Wacky Witchy Rogue.
Wogue.
Witchy Wogue.
Yeah, PNC isn't. He's in Trub.
He's screwed. Let's just be real. He's dead. Not dead immediately though. Like if we think about it, what can he actually pull out from the situation? Anything he plays. Just gets run into the wall of Stegatron. If you Dynamatic, you can clear off the 2 1/1s.
Cool. You might be able to clear off the Evil Miscreant. His plan here has to be to hold Zilliax until he can get a big minion on it. I think.
Yeah, I think you play Dynamatic and hold. Your opponent develops and then you can like just play Zilliax and potentially go for the trades. Alright, Muzzy can have his pick of the litter. So, what are ways that we can lose from this position is probably what's going through Muzzy's head right now. Because you're super far ahead because you have a 5/12 that's never going to die. So I'd like some combination of removing his mechs. Eviscerate seems to line up really nicely with the 3/4, and you can SI. Well, yeah, so he could play like a Lackey, SI, and Eviscerate and clear this board.
Yeah, he could Kobold Lackey the 3/3.
Yeah.
Trade in the Evil Miscreant, Eviscerate the 3/4, and then SI7 Agent the.
That looks like the best option to me. And
This works exactly the same.
Yeah. So you get the push to damage. And the nice thing is you're dumping your hand so that sprint is open. So that's what I like also about it.
Yep.
PNC is... I think it might be Omega Assembly time.
Yeah.
I think you want another Clockwork Goblin to make Blastmaster Boom as best as possible and then hope that you can get out of the situation.
You can even get things like a Coppertail Imposter just to try and have that for Ziliax post Blastmaster Boom. Try and clean up things. Dinomatic would take off the SI7 agent and the Kobold. Just kind of giving yourself the best board position possible moving in.
Yeah, I agree.
To Blastmaster Boom.
PNC is thinking real hard, but he's going to rope it out and wait to see what he's going to do here. He's just going to play Militia Commander and nothing else. Oh, man.
Oh, man.
Oh, man.
This does bring the damage Stegatron down to 7 health, which gets challenged by Blastmaster Boom. So. Or you just don't attack with it.
Yeah, the no attack, it means that he's trying to absorb a little bit of that damage and that life total. Because he doesn't want to give... Basically, PNC feels like he's just going to die if he just lets his opponent deal damage. So I think he's hoping that Militia Commander essentially gains him 5 life.
So many options.
I hope you like my invention.
SI7 agent. Muzzy probably thinking about the best ways that he can set this up without having to overcommit to a brawl.
Yeah, he can go SI7 agent.
This guy's toast.
Just like Goblin Lackey.
That doesn't feel good.
Too soon.
Trade doesn't feel good either. It's kind of an awkward situation because you don't want to go too big on this board because it's kind of good enough.
Right. I mean, you still have, what, 13 power showing right now? Dr. Boom Mad Genius. That's exactly what PNC's looking for, I think. It helps him stall a little bit by gaining that armor, and then you have Blastmaster Boom on the following turn for the bombs to rush in. If you play Blastmaster Boom now, you give Muzzy the ideal trades of how he wants everything to go.
Yeah.
Although, if you do, I mean, it's not like Muzzy has like the best trades because all of his stuff's at like 1 health. Now he
But he
like,
could play more stuff to absorb it.
Yeah. He play like the dagger to the boom box and whatnot.
Yeah.
I gotta move.
I like the Mad Genius.
Maybe.
Yeah, PNC is roping every turn and really thinking about everything. $10, $12, $13, $14. Trying to see if there's like ways for Muzzy to set up any kind of lethal opportunities for the following turn. Doesn't seem like it. Start off with the Keeble Rant.
He's got a ton of direct damage in his deck. 2 Waggle Picks, Leroy, double Shadow Step, double Life Drinker. An Eviscerate left in his deck. Does he have any what?
Yeah, I was going to say, like, does he have the Eviscerates and stuff, too?
He has 1 Eviscerate left in the deck. Wait, no. He has both Eviscerates left in the deck because the one Eviscerate he played was picked up off of Ethereal Lackey.
Speaking of which,
Ooh, head crack.
seems like one of these destroy minions are probably the preferable choice here. Walk the plank is just cheaper. Let's just get going before it takes too long. Preparation, interesting.
Would have worked.
Haze.
I think this was pretty well done for Muzzy. Gets to push damage, goes wide on board, has a lot of small stuff to absorb these Moonbot hits.
All right.
One to face, that's a pretty good outcome.
Yeah, it's and also consequently pretty bad for PNC. He still can't get past his Stegatron, by the way, just to show you how impactful it was.
Yeah.
The immovable object. It's kind of like the Mukla that you can get from the Simian Sphere in the Dalaran Heist, where you just get a Mukla that's invulnerable, just never dies. It kind of feels like that with the damaged Stegatron. You know what I'm talking about?
No.
So in Dalaran Heist,
I haven't played enough.
there's a treasure you can get where you get a Mukla that's spell immune. You can't target it with hero powers or spells, and it's also immune to damage. So it just like stays on board forever.
That's cool.
And it trades into everything.
I think there was like a toy in World of Warcraft that was.
Well, it's a play on Super Monkey Ball. They call it like Super something Sphere, Super Simian Sphere.
Yeah, there's an item in World of Warcraft that's called that.
Oh, well, I mean, most things in WoW are like puns in other games and stuff like that. And medium.
No, World of Warcraft was the first video game actually.
Oh yeah. I actually heard Indiana Jones was inspired off Pierce.
It was, yeah.
The PNC is struggling, to say the least. Also seems incapable of attacking into this damaged Stegatron. I can't believe not a single point of damage has been taken onto this this mech on Muzzy's side here.
Yeah. It also seems like PNC's end turn button is broken.
Yes.
16 damage available. Sure, might as well sprint. PNC gave you kind of a free turn here.
Yep. Sprint into damage.
Yeah, I mean, he's got a ton of it in his deck. There's some. There's probably more. And look, even more.
Definitely doing that. Definitely doing that. Wonder how he wants to do the rest of these attacks. Probably wants to disarm the boombots while he can, because he does give chances for a potential brawl to cause his minion to die. Okay, apparently boombots just don't know how to hit anything but face.
There we go.
Do you think this entire game, damage Stegatron's not going to take a single point of damage?
Yeah, because if he brawls here, then he'll just die without taking damage.
Yeah.
Oh, man.
I wonder if PNC wants to throw in something into the ring to give himself a small chance to win. Throw in the Eternium Rover.
He can start with Delivery Drone. I think you want to brawl and then Eternium Rover hit a 1-1, since 1-1s are most likely to survive. Alright, well, it's a 3-2.
So the Eternium Rover can't take it down.
Yeah.
That's a consolation prize if he knows that the damage Stegatron goes down. Also, funny enough, the Blood Mage Thou knows that summoned off a Faceless Lackey, drew a card, and now Muzzy's going to burn.
Yeah, not a huge deal since he has pretty much everything he needs to win the game in his hand already. Unpowered Mauler can trade over this.
Yeah, he can play it now.
He played a spell.
My hand is too full.
Ooh, that one hurts.
Yeah, he still has the lethal setup, though.
Yeah. That could have been the biggest enemy Cleave alive, though. That's
Yes. Prep Violet Haze. All right. 2 Death Rattle cards. Whoa!
Ooh. That's nice. Play Savannah Highman Life Trigger here.
I do like the idea of Waggle Pick as well, since it's 4 damage for over the course of 2 turns.
Yeah. Problem is that it has anti-synergy with Savannah Highman.
So just maybe play
So
Van
many
Cleef or something with the Cable Rat instead.
All right, Evil Cable Rat, Lackey, Van Cleef, Waggle Pick.
Yep.
Works for me.
Yeah, it lines up very nicely here with the Goblin Lackey. Goblin Lackey trade, Waggle Pick face, Edwin, Van Cleef.
Yep, and you set up for exactly double Life Drinker.
Okay, this works as well.
Yep, set up for... well... You have to have like a Mega Devastator plus something else to clear up this board, but this develops a big thing, pushes a little bit of damage. It's like the most board development.
Right.
Has 7 from hand next turn. PNC only has 1 Omega Devastator in the deck, but he does have a Spellbreaker.
Right, he had it in his opening mulligan, I think, that he threw away.
Yeah. So I could pick up one of those 2 things. Also could try and fight back with the Turning Marble Braziliacs.
Okay, then.
I think you would play them separately. Turning them over into the 1-1, Ziliax into the 3-3. But I think Shield Block is a start off. Is that a Spellbreaker? Ooh.
I love that fuse thing.
Yeah.
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 I mean, at this point, it's exactly like 50% likely that he draws it because he's drawn through half his deck and he's got 1 copy, so. But that's a stabilization for PNC. For now.
Well, for now, Leroy got picked up too. It's an opportunity for Muzzy to really press in here. Just have to be mindful of the Ziliax combination, though.
Max damage this turn is 13.
13 looks like.
Yep.
What's that? 18.
Don't think he want to go too all in here. Muzzy's got plenty of gas and time to find the victory. There's 2 bombs in his deck, and he's at a good life total with a life trigger in hand. So, and Ziliax on top of that.
Precision. Perfection.
So I think you kind of take it slow here.
Choose C.
Only weapon removal in PNC's deck is the 1 copy of Harrison Jones. No weapons projects.
PNC needs a big mech pickup here from the delivery drone. Alternatively, he could just play Ziliax and Militia Commander. I think Acolyte and Elysiana are just dead cards in this spot.
Yeah, Elysiana, which has been in his hand since the opening mulligan after he threw away some cards.
Then.
Pretty much a dead card in the matchup overall. I think the only time it's used is as like a desperation measure. It's the only card in your hand.
Well, like based off of what he's seen, if he doesn't do anything, he's basically just gonna die. Muzzy's drawn a lot of cards. Some of them are randomly generated, but also a lot of them are also from the deck that can just threaten to kill him. So he's got to do something.
I love that fuse thing.
It does make me very nervous that he keeps waiting for the rope to do anything. Makes me feel like potentially gonna miss something here. But if he's not gonna discover anything off the delivery drone,
Unity. Precision.
all right. So with that Ziliax, PNC will gain a little bit more life. Well, a lot more life, actually, to be honest. It's pretty dramatic swing. Muzzy has the opportunity to, say, play Huh, how does this actually work out?
I think he played Life Drinker, Waggle Pick, then Savannah High Main.
Just have a 2-mana life drinker in there.
Just have a 2-mana Life Drinker in hand and a High Main on board. So your opponent goes up to 21, goes down to 18. You have 9, 10 damage from hand with 6 damage on board.
I mean, he's gaining 7 because of the blast shield too.
Yeah.
I must choose soon.
The PNC's out of stuff. Oh, Spark Drill, okay.
Seems like he just wants to use his Leroy with the Waggle Pick.
Makes sense.
Harrison Jones. Although it bounced back to Life Drinker anyways. But you got, I think you definitely do it. You gotta save a little bit of life. Draw a card.
Yeah.
That belongs in a museum.
Omega Assembly.
Ooh. PNC's not out of this.
No, he's not out of it by any means.
Speak to me.
If anything, Muzzy may have taken this a little too slow.
Yeah. Honestly, would have liked to see Savannah Hyman come down onto that board. Traditionally, the Warrior Killer card.
Well, he does have a way to stop resources through this walk the plank on the Acolyte.
Lock the plank on Acolyte,
So
eviscerate
many
into the
options.
Harrison Jones.
That's 4 mana remaining.
4 mana left to work with.
Could Life Drinker and double rush.
They're throwing a lot of damage. He does have. He still has damage left in the deck. He has no Spear of the Shark since one was burned. He has a Waggle Pick, High Spear and Tog Waggle, but no lackeys left since he's played both Evil Miscreants and both Evil Cable Rats. He has Novice Engineer, Sap. He has 2 Shadow Steps, so I think that's where big things can come into play.
Yeah, maybe Muzzy just goes Life Drinker and attacks face. Or eviscerates face.
Yeah. I think this is Muzzy kind of playing to his damage outs here.
He has a lot of life, so he feels like he's comfortable working with it.
Ooh.
All right, Unpowered Steambot is a mech that taunts and gets things in the way. I like it.
Boomer is also just a big thing that Muzzy's going to struggle to deal with.
Yes.
Okay, then.
This game looked like it was about to snowball in Muzzy's favor many turns in a row.
Yeah, and I think the Warriors just been barely hanging on just because it's drawn like the exact cards it's needed. Their Unpowered Steambot's pretty hard to deal with. And I bet Muzzy wish he had fought more for the board here because Eviscerate on the Harrison means his Savannah Jaime can get protected. Quite an interesting game that this has panned out where like by playing a slow Warrior is able to just barely hang in there. Now swing it, bomb gets drawn. I don't know about this one, TJ. I feel like it's getting out of control now. Warriors favored to win.
All right. With Life Drinker played, PC will go down to 17, which is exactly the range of Leroy, Shadow Step, Leroy, Dagger Hit, Eviscerate. Problem is,
There's an Unpowered Steambot, right?
there's no Powered Steambot, and Muzzy's uses preparation. He has a Sap, but he needs to set that up over 2 turns. So what he has to do, like his win condition is, Sap, Leroy, Shadow Step, Leroy, the same turn, then set up for an Eviscerate for the next turn. Like, that's all of his damage.
Yeah, I totally get why Muzzy doesn't want to set up the board too, though, because when your opponent has Rush, it makes things with Death Rattle a lot less impactful, because everything can just kill it. So he was like, okay, well, these minions aren't reliable for damage, so I have to just basically go face with everything.
But at the same time, the turns that he had to utilize it, PNC was pretty much out of stuff. He could pin that far left card to almost exactly
Okay,
Archivist Legion. It's
then.
been the opening hand. Maybe some error for Shield Slam as well. But since he's kept the armor total low. And he's used all of his rushers. He hadn't used Eliax at the time, but, you know. I don't know,
Okay,
there's things to
then.
evaluate.
Yeah, the evaluation here, PNC, is if he wants to play Boom Reaver versus Dynamatic, both would involve board clears of some sort. If he plays Boom Reaver and doesn't pull out anything substantial, he could just trade. If he plays out something aggressive, he could just push damage.
Looking at the minions left in his deck, he's got
Master plan.
Mega Devastator. But Dynamac is such a clean clear here.
Two Shadow Steps. Is this a Myra's setup here then for Muzzy? He might just die. There's a bomb in his deck.
Yeah, Blast Shield on the other side. I just don't think Muzzy has the reach anymore. Cards left in his deck are one Eviscerate, Sap, Heistburn, Togwaggle, Waggle Pick, Snip Snap, and a bomb.
I'm out of cards. I give.
Yep. Rough game. Wow.
Yeah.
PNC though, somehow secured her
Barely
victory in game
survived.
1. Yeah,
Yeah.
that was intense.
That was intense and pretty impressive, to be quite honest. I felt like the Rogue was in a really good spot the entire time, almost to the point where it's like, oh yeah, Rogue should be able to end it here. A lot of the lines of play were rooted in logic that makes sense, right? Like Muzzy's like, well, I could go for all these like traditionally really powerful stuff, but when he plays Dr. Boom Mad Genius, a lot of those rules get thrown out the window.
Yeah.
And then as a result, was not able to kind of piece together anything. And then all of a sudden, his line looks weird. I totally understand it, and I think that is honestly how he does win most of the time if he does end up winning.
Yeah.
But PNC, like, just getting kind of the draws that he really needed in those tough spots, and just goes to show you again, you know, the power of Dr. Boom being able to get out onto the board and really stop a lot of that pressure.
Yeah.
Warriors removal tools. That's why it's favored against Rogue, because this is a matchup that on paper should be good for PNC.
Yeah, should be. And I'm not going to dive too deep into the secondary, tertiary decks.
No, please do, TJ.
No, I'm not going to,
All right.
because that was game 1. You know what that means?
Means we're going to a break.
That's right.
All right, we'll come back and we'll see if Muzzy can turn it around or PNC is going to close out 2-0.
My name is Francisco Frale Montas. One of my best friends came out with my nickname. We are all getting like nicknames with 3 letters for some reason, like 13 years old. My name is Francisco, and Francisco's are called Pancho. So it's just like 3 letters from that, P and C. One interesting thing about me that most people don't know is that I used to study ancient history. I quit for Hearthstone a couple of years, but plan on going back at one point. My favorite Hearthstone Esports moment was when I topped like Lethal 2016 Copa America Finals. That was like my first big win, and I was very, very happy. It's like finally all that I worked for coming true. Beating Grandmasters for me means that all the hard work that I put in last years and all the time that I spent the game is paying off. My favorite thing about Grandmasters would be that I get a chance to prove myself like on the big stage. What makes me unique as a player, I would say, is just bringing very complicated decks to tournament. It's mostly combo decks that people usually don't play. My personal goals this year will be to earn as much money as I can, of course, and yes, improve as a player and play the best I can.
I'm Mazahidul Islam. I go by Muzzy in game. My username, as you know, my first name is Mazahidul. It's kind of difficult to say for some people, and every time someone calls you, You know, they're gonna have to say, "Hey, Mazahidul." You know, that's long, and you don't want to say that. My friend gave me a nickname. You know, like, "Hey Muzz, hey Muzzy." So I sort of just took that, and you know, name's Muzzy. I took a look at the list of players. Some of them have been more focused on streaming, I would say, in these past few years. I've participated at the highest levels of competition that they might not have appeared in. I'm the player to beat in my group, for sure. The thing that I most look forward to about competing in Grandmasters is the thrill of the competition. It's really why I play Hearthstone. It's what I've enjoyed doing for the past 3 or 4 years, and it's what I'll continue to enjoy doing, hopefully. I think Hearthstone instinct is definitely my greatest skill set. I think that if I took a break for a while and didn't play the game and came back to new cards, I think I could pilot a new deck fairly well, fairly quickly. People would always mention the term burnout to me. Burnout, burnout, burnout. I didn't know what it was. I would constantly play Hearthstone all the time. I definitely want to have more titles and put my name in Hearthstone history.
Welcome back, everyone, as we get ready for game number 2 between Muzzy and PNC. Currently, PNC's up 1-0 as he has the Warrior over the Rogue. Looking dicey for Muzzy as we go into the game number 2 here, because if he loses, he has to get a lot of help from PNC and Shrifko in the next coming weeks, because he'll be 4-6. And then, 4-7.
4-7.
And then PNC and Shrifko will both be 6-5, which makes it unlikely for Muzzy to make it to playoffs even.
Yeah, it's kind of interesting how Division A has panned out today. At the beginning of the day, we had a situation where 3 through 8 all had a chance at qualifying for playoffs, but now the bottom of the standings are all losing and the top of the standings are all winning, which is kind of separating that pack. But going into game 2, Muzzy has made a swap. He's gone to a secondary deck, which has removed Backstab, a Preparation, a Sap, an SI7 Agent, and a Life Drinker, and added 2 Coppertail Imposters, 2 War Gears, and a Cairn Bloodhoof. So a lot more mid-game resiliency against Bomb Warrior, and a lot less of the cards that can sometimes be dead in the matchup, like Backstab, Sap. PNC staying on his primary deck. His secondary deck looks like it's tech for Warrior Mirrors, and his tertiary is for Mage. So he'll be operating with the same resources. Pretty good early game for PNC, though. With Clockwork Goblin, Wrench Caliber, Ziliax, all that rolls into Blastmaster Boom with 3 bombs already in hand. And Muzzy taking it slow. Coin Miscreant. Strong turn 2 play, but opts to forego that.
Yeah, I think increasing the flexibility of his play in case he wanted to, push out a better curve is more important. Because if you point out the Miscreant, he didn't exactly have good plays guaranteed if he didn't pick up good lackeys. totally reasonable.
Defend the gates.
PNC just kind of drawing the cards off the top.
Ooh, yeah.
I wonder if the Waggle Pig here looks good, or the Coppertail Imposter. Probably because he has the War Gear already in hand. It makes it a lot better. That's why. The mech can't get stopped by the Dynamatic here. His best play is to set up a Wrench Caliber. Seems like, at least at first glance. You could also play Ziliax and just hold it onto the board. I feel like you're asking for trouble, though, against Rogue, because they have so many ways in combat tricks to, like, snipe that 3-2.
Next PNC is trying to figure out how to best set up for
So many choices.
what Muzzy can do with this Coppertail Imposter. There's Snip Snap, there's Double War Gear. But with Spellbreaker in hand, he does have the check to it.
Oh, man. Well, if they have the Spellbreaker, the Snip Snap is a lot worse than the War Gear.
If that's the case, can you go for like double Snip Snap here?
You go double Snip Snap, but maybe one on the 4/4 and one separately? That's weird.
Then if he silences, he can't... Oh, yeah, I really like that. One Snip Snap on the 4/4 trade. Then if PNC uses Spellbreaker, he can't kill it with the Wrench Caliber. He can go for the Wrench Caliber swing onto the second Snip Snap, and then you have two 1/1s, and then you magnetize a War Gear onto it and just go in. I really like that play, actually. Because if he goes War Gear and hits phase, then PNC plays Spellbreaker, kills the Coppertail Imposter, and has board presence.
Okay.
I do actually like the Snip Snap play. And if he goes for War Gear play, as much as it hurts, I like the trade.
What I do like about this play is that if he does Spellbreaker, he does take another 4.
He does take another 4, that's true. And this deck does pack a ton of direct damage. And it is a big resource out of the way. But the Snip Snap play, we obviously have the benefit of having both hands in front of us.
Right, the caster vision
So
is very
many
strong
choices.
in this one, given that we know the Spellbreaker's in hand. Spellbreaker's a one-of. It's not something that you necessarily play around, but
Your magic shall not save you.
it's something that Muzzy was also calculating for. He has to start kind of over, though, in terms of board development. Ziliax here is pretty decent. Spirit of the Shark, though. Spirit of the Shark Novice Engineer. Goblin Lackey. Yo, okay, this is actually this is some real combos, man. That's pretty sick.
Yeah.
It is weak to the Dynamatic.
I wonder.
That is the downside of it. Is there an alternative that we're thinking of? Maybe just like Waggle Pick and take it really slow. Like Novice Engineer Waggle Pick. God, I don't know.
If he plays Waggle Pick, though, he's just going to die to Blastmaster Boom. Again, caster vision, but it's something you have to keep in mind. What's the play that my opponent's most likely to make? I don't think it is Blastmaster Boom.
And it's Ziliax.
Ziliax dies.
Chilaki.
Yeah, Witchy-Lackey. Yep. Damage Tegatron.
Ready for this?
Archmage, okay. I'll take it.
Wait, was last game the Damage Tegatron game where PNC?
Yeah, it was.
What?
Yeah, PNC won.
God, I totally forgot. It felt so long ago because PNC takes a long time for his turns.
Yeah.
Jeez. I personally
So
thought
many
he was dead for
choices.
so long, and now with his Archmage out, he has to find another way to remove it. I guess he does have the Dynamatic, right? In this case, he can just play the Blastmaster Boom.
Yeah, this is a fully loaded Blastmaster Boom. 3 bombs down the deck. And this is the bane of Rogue's existence.
It always has been.
Muzzy rolling his eyes a little bit. This is quite the start. This is just so hard to fight back with. A rogue just doesn't have great ways to deal with Blast Master Boom.
So many options.
I mean, there's a chance here that Muzzy has to like try and set up for lethal.
Yeah, so what if Muzzy goes for Spear the Shark and like Goblin Lackey coin Edwin? He actually pumps Edwin up to a 14-14, I think. And he can go face for 6. And he's in the situation where he could get like Waggle Pick plus Eviscerate and some other things. I think I like that line because it gives him an ability to win, and PNC would have to like trade and like worry about the 14-14.
Yeah.
So I think Muzzy agrees. I mean, it's a big Van Cleave.
It is.
Brotherhood shall come.
PNC's like, oh geez, all right. There's some board tension going on here.
Oh. You gosh darn better believe it.
So, if you shield block, shield slam, you have 2 warpaths. No, that's not enough.
I mean, it could be. I think honestly the best chance is to start throwing these boom bots into Edwin. See where you land and then evaluate afterwards.
Maybe. No.
And Muzzy's probably happy to see that trade.
Right, because it means he's not going face. Ooh.
That's a good outcome.
Okay. He's hoping for that warpath.
I gotta move.
I think you just keep trading in. Oh my goodness.
Some good, some bad. Dude, the shark's not dying. 1 damage again. Okay.
That one's a little better.
But the shark survived.
Shark survives.
That's kind of a big deal.
And there was a good amount of damage dealt from PNC, but honestly, that is...
Oh, man.
I hope you like my invention.
Oh.
Oh!
Evil Miscreant. Super good in this spot.
But Life Drinker's enticing as well. Yeah, it's Evil Miscreant.
Cobalt Lackey, Ethereal Lackey.
Holy moly!
Witchy Lackeys.
So
Yeah, Ethereal Lackey can give you a sap, which is actually really good in this spot.
yeah, and he always has Eviscerate to fall back on. Whew. That was an insane turn.
Oh my gosh, the swings in this matchup are ridiculous, right? Because I thought PNC was super far ahead.
Yeah, that
Now Muzzy just comes out of nowhere with the shark.
Yeah. PNC did not have great outcomes from his bombs, but he did have a great opening. So he can count his blessings for that.
Woo! Oh, also the boom bots. The boom bot did 4 damage in lifesteal. That's funny. It's a funny interaction.
Yeah.
Oh man, PNC one minute off from being able to unlock his hand too. If you warpaths, you can kill off everything but the Boulderfist Ogre. If you warpaths twice, he's a chance of sniping the Boulderfist Ogre.
Could try and shield block, dig for a brawl, but there's only one brawl in PNC's deck, so at that point it'd be a 1 in 18. Not that likely. He may have to just warpath, isolate this Boulderfist Ogre, and try and pick it off with a Mega Assembly next turn, but taking 6. Yikes. Acolyte of Pain, not the best. This board's gonna live. Muzzy, so much damage in hand.
Speak to me.
I feel like when I watch professional Hearthstone players, TJ, they just are in a constant state of shaking their head. just always like, oh,
So unlucky.
well, I don't think they're saying that. It's just more like, it just feels like the default thing to do, which is quite humorous.
Yeah.
But maybe not necessarily. It's at their expense, which I'm not advocating for. I'm just saying it's very funny to me.
Yeah.
All right, now we've always said watch out, right? Because Warriors can make these comebacks. 2 Omega Assemblies, some miracles could happen here.
Oh, yeah. Does not have Dr. Mad Genius activated, which means that it's going to have to find some good Battlecry mechs and not be able to rely on the rush.
Maybe
Still find Omega Devastators.
No.
Could still find like Brilliant Nullifiers, Zilliacs.
Yeah, I think here PNC could go for that. Omega Assembly is definitely something to consider.
Not great.
Yeah, those get better when he has Dr. Boom Mad Genius in.
Cool. Boulder Face Ogre survives here. He does not have a way to kill it. Oh, jeez. Whew.
Seemed like PNC was fairly lost on what was actually the thing to do because just kind of got stuck in situations. The Boulder Fist Ogre surviving was also not good for him. How much damage is this for 8 to 10 from the hand?
Getting close. Coppertail Imposter as well with a Snip Snap. He just saw the only brawl. So you could set up Coppertail Imposter and try and go for some damage next turn. I'm thinking...
Load it up?
Load it up. I don't know if you play Waggle Pick, because if he has Harrison Jones...
Yeah, I don't think so. I think you just go for a Snip Snap.
Yeah. Go for a Snip Snap now, load it up, and then next turn unleash with all the damage. Because there's just absolutely no way for this this Coppertail Imposter to be dealt with.
And
No brawls, it's stealth because of Omega Devastator.
Yep, the Mega Devastator just arrived in the hand.
And looks like this should be game for Muzzy.
Yeah, he's got so much mech power in his hand, but he just can't get it out.
Yeah. Needed to find that Omega Devastator last turn to not take the 6 damage from Bogan Fist Ogre. And even after that, I don't know if it would have mattered because of how much direct damage Muzzy has. Even has Myers Unstable Element to try and draw through the rest of his deck and pick up those last bits of damage. But I think we're going to game 3.
It looks like it.
So many choices.
PNC is going to try and hang in there, but looks like Muzzy's going to strike back. Nope.
Yep.
I gotta move.
Yep.
Nope.
In his mind, you know, he's thinking, what if he doesn't have the damage? What's my best way to come back? Best way to come back is to just generate as much board presence as possible. And, you know, Muzzy does have 2 bombs in the deck, I believe.
Yep, 2 bombs left in the deck.
So it wasn't, like, impossible of a concept for him to come back. We have seen equally ridiculous things happen with the 6 out of 14, 5 out of 13 type situation with...
Just last series. So Muzzy ties up the series in kind of an interesting series so far, where in game 1, Muzzy felt like he had the lead for the whole game and then lost. And then in game 2, PNC felt like he had a significant lead and he lost. And I think you mentioned it throughout that game. It's just the swings of this matchup are insane. One turn where you have a weaker turn than could possibly happen, and
right.
the other player can just take advantage of it. And
what I've determined, TJ, is that whoever's winning in the beginning is going to lose.
Is going to lose. That's what it feels like.
Yes, which is It's kind of like it's kind of like a TV show in a way, like an anime, right? It's like they're supposed to be winning and then make this dramatic comeback out of nowhere, which seems impossible to make that comeback.
Yeah, or like CSI, where the first suspect is never the one who did
That's
it.
right. That's right.
It's not the person you least suspect, and it's also not the person you most suspect. It's always the person you most medium suspect.
I guess. But what if I suspect them the most?
Nope.
What if there's only one suspect in the entire show?
That is a terrible show.
All right.
That's what we. There is a show. It's called Cops.
Is it?
There's only one.
There's
one
only
suspect. And
They're chasing him the entire.
spoiler alert, Dan. He did it.
Aw.
In fact, in many of the episodes,
Spoiler culture is getting out of control, TJ.
in many of the episodes, we watched that person do it.
Oh. I used to like watching that show back in the day, but mainly because I just wanted to hear the intro song.
Bad boys, bad boys. What you gonna do?
Yeah, very nicely done, TJ. Yeah,
Thank you.
I think there's a great Hearthstone parody
What a performance!
for Admirable to make of, or inevitably Natalie Kibler as well. It's really funny watching Natalie Kibler and Admirable sit in a room together and just you drop the word like parody.
Parody song.
Yeah, and then it's just like just watching them two go at it. It's like kind of watching a real life episode of Glee where they just try to out-sing each other, and they're just like ignoring and trying to be as extravagant as possible with it. Because they both get really into it. Admirable beatboxes for himself, and Natalie dances and kind of takes over the entire room, and Kibler's just filming the entire thing laughing. It was a great wedding.
Quite the experience.
All right, let's go into game number 3 here. The early mulligan decisions, only keeping the town crier. Actually, it looks like he kept the acolyte as well. Fairly interesting. But you can see that PNC really needs to have that early game momentum like he did in the first game, right? With the Clockwork Goblins and the Snip Snap.
Was he not daggering the 1-2? He could kill it over 2 turns, but I think keeping his options open in case he picks up backstab for this evil miscreant.
Yeah, you have to consider that if he does dagger down the 1-2 over 2 turns, when does he get a chance to re-dagger?
He doesn't.
Yeah. Well, it would be next turn if he didn't have a turn 3 play.
Yeah, which I guess he doesn't have a turn 3 play. So I don't know. Maybe there's merit to it.
Yeah, it's a really small thing, but maybe something that ends up mattering. Ooh, evil cable rat. All right. But the evil cable rat means the acolyte gets to draw. So then Muzzy redaggers. Does his deck still have the Henge Clan thugs?
It does.
Okay, that's another possibility of him holding on to it.
Yep. PNC kind of just tempoing out though, and I like this. It makes it awkward for Muzzy because he doesn't have any plays to make until turn 3, except for Evil Cable Rat and Novice Engineer. He knows that he can kind of ride this tempo wave into the mid game.
It definitely is a wave because it eventually will stop. Now Muzzy is in a situation where it's like, okay, maybe I need to just like spend my resources to not die. But he also can take it still a little bit slower. He doesn't have to war gear here.
He can initiate a race. The problem is, he hasn't seen the rush minion. So let's say Muzzy war gears and goes face. Ziliax on this Omega Devastator would be nearly game ending.
It'd be Omega devastating.
It would.
Bad boy.
I was thinking things I was about to say it. That's also, oddly enough, a CSI reference.
Is it?
I guess you could say he
Oh.
Got Omega devastated. What?
Yeah!
Choose soon. So many options.
So if Muzzy goes for the Eagle Kill Rat, looks like he's going to trade over the Acolyte instead. Try to see if he can play it a little bit slower.
Yep.
I don't mind this either, given that PNC can't really punish too many different ways.
Yeah. This also gives Muzzy a lot more options to pick apart the board state next turn.
Yeah, I think I favored this over the War Gear because the Smash Face was punished by the Omega Devastator, but also the trade into the 4/5 feels like why magnetize that then? Because you kind of set yourself up for like a Militia Commander, and you're back in the same spot.
Yeah.
So this at least would force your opponent to soften the board. Dynamatic though, oh man, so timely. Wow, I think that was the first time I ever heard Coppertail's Imposter die, and it just sounds like a regular squirrel when it dies.
Yeah, we heard it die last game too.
Well, that was the first time that I like kind of realized it and understood what was actually happening.
Wow.
I wonder.
Yeah, because Coppertail Imposter is
It's a mechanical squirrel.
It's a mechanical squirrel.
Right. The idea is that it's a squirrel trying to get a nut, but the other squirrels can't tell. I'm sad now.
It's okay, Dan.
So many options.
So the Muzzy here, he has the opportunity to drop the Kobold, take down the 4-1. Looks like he's going to 3-0 Lackey first. I think that he needs to find a way to fight back for tempo. In fact, the Myers Unstable Element allows him to dump his hand very aggressively now.
Myers Unstable Element is such a tough card to play against Warrior. Especially with that Togwaggle scheme.
Fair enough.
Because they can just have a Wrench Caliber and you're dead. It's a way for you to, I need to end the game right now. I have direct damage in my deck. But
yeah, looks like Goblin Lackey and the Kobold Lackey being used in tandem to take down the board. PNC still has pressure available to him. This is the point where I think PNC should seriously start evaluating if he wants to use a Mega Assembly for 1, as opposed to get it for 3 minions. I don't know if you play it this turn, though. I think maybe you play it on turn 7, because there's a handful of good 6-mana mechs that you can play as well. This turn, he has the option of pressing for damage. He could play Militia Commander and Warpath, or he can just set up things just like the normal tempo that he would like to play.
yeah.
I think out of all of them, that's actually a tough call, because I don't know if I like using Warpath just as one time.
It shuts off Heistburn Togwaggle plus, yeah, just Heistburn Togwaggle. Muzzy has taken on his preps in his secondary deck, so you don't have to worry about Heistburn Togwaggle prep treasure.
Well, yeah, in that case, he has lackeys anyways that you know, so.
Ooh, a Mega Assembly.
Okay.
Kind of.
Oh my gosh. He got Dynamatic. It's so good. Dynamatic's really good too. If he doesn't have, if he has the shark set up.
But he picked up Dynamatic and then played Militia Commander. That's the problem I have with it.
He wants to save it so that he has an answer to the shark, doesn't he?
Yeah, but then he has a Militia Commander on board, which absorbs the Dynamatic shots. I would have liked to see the Dynamatic come down now.
I wonder.
That's definitely very fair.
And Muzzy has enough mana where he can play Spear of the Shark and then just get value out of it on one turn.
Right.
Especially with multiple lackeys in hand. So, like he would have taken off all the lackeys. He still would have traded over the 2/2. He wouldn't have been played the Eternium Rover. But it's not doing that much.
Looks like Muzzy's gonna evolve this into a 1 higher cost minion.
But I take.
Okay, so Curio Collector. Whenever you draw a card, gain +1/+1.
Choose soon.
Knobs Engineer.
Yeah.
Just want to point out that this Snip Snap has been on the board since turn 3, with no signs of slowing down.
Oh, dude.
I just realized a Curio Collector is a magician. Oh, no, he's a collector. But he looks like he's a magician, just based off the way he's dressed.
Wait, are you sure it's not Curio Magician? Oh, no, it's Curio Collector, yeah.
Gotcha.
Oh, well, oh, that makes sense!
It does make a lot of sense when you put it that way. Warrior number 2. We've seen this problem encountered a lot with the mech rogue packages, where you just kind of have the mechs, but you don't really get the tempo that you're usually able to have.
Rogue does just not feel great when you're fighting from behind.
It never has. A Shadow Step? An unidentified contract.
Feels like Shadow Step's gotta be the play, though.
Just to get another series of spells.
Guess not. Assassin's Contract.
Yeah, and you can start to see why some rogues just really do not want to pick up clunky, heavy cards that are just hard to play, because it just makes their turns awkward. And now PNC picks up Blastmaster Boom.
No bombs in the deck, though. Hasn't picked up Wrench Caliber or Clockwork Goblin yet this game.
Does have the option of pressing in for damage here.
Yeah, could even go Ziliax onto one of these mechs, armor up Shield Slam, and push 8 with the Turning River going over the 1/1. Like a Turning River going over the Lackey.
The downside to Ziliax is if you place it on a minion, you want to make sure that the minion, that if it gets sapped, for example,
So many choices.
would not be as punishing.
Yeah. He may just play a 7/7 here.
Oh, tempo Doctor move.
Sure.
Getting into the 1/1 as well. Snip Snap is just not dying. This
No.
is crazy to me.
It's dealt damage to the face. It's traded off a lot of minions. It's made Muzzy's turns very awkward. Solid card.
People meme Harvest Golem a lot, but it's just annoying to get rid of.
Perpetual state of shaking their head. Seen more head shakes and eye rolls this series than I have in a long time.
2, 3, plus another 3 is 8. All right, so now that he's one turn away from Mega Assembly, I think we hold on to that. I think you can Harrison here to maybe pick up a card. I know the Harrison to stop the Waggle pick is good, but you're no longer in a position of getting value. You're trying to end the game.
Maybe.
Yeah. I mean, in Muzzy's secondary deck, there's only one Life Drinker. Muzzy's played it. There's a Ziliax. That's something you have to keep in mind. There's no sap, so the Ziliax onto anything is pretty much going to stick.
As far as you know, there's been spells picked up by the Theolaki.
Yep.
No.
I think the biggest thing is a mech plus Ziliax. PNC doesn't want to go too all in on face damage because he knows that there is that swing that Muzzy could have.
I gotta move.
But is going to keep playing for tempo.
That belongs in a museum.
Knows that Waggle pick just is not super threatening right now.
Not too pathetic because Muzzy might be dead.
Yeah.
Just doesn't have enough time. And this is a common theme that I've seen across almost every of those mech rogue decks. And DJ, I have yet to see a mech rogue deck take the series because of it. You know, I've always seen them take a game.
Just makes everything more clunky. I think I talked about it on broadcast yesterday, how against Warriors I do like the just throw in one Cairn and a couple of Tog Waggle schemes.
Well, there you go. Mortal Strike saves him from the damage on board.
Yeah, but he is dead with this Ziliax Magnetize. So looks like PNC will take the series over Muzzy, moving up to 6-5.
Yes.
Muzzy falls to 4-7 and continues the trend of the players in Group A at the lower end of the standings losing and further putting themselves in a hole for the playoff race.
Yeah, PNC, who had a terrible start at the beginning of the season, is now rattling off win after win.
Yeah.
6-5.
And this series in general is kind of indicative of PNC's season overall, where rough start at the beginning of game 1, taking like 15 damage from damage Degatron and brought it back and ended up taking the series off that big game 1 victory. Even though it was close, very close at the end, in game 3, just tempoing out, and that's why Snip Snap's starting to make its way in these warrior decks, because it just gives you so many cool options to use. You can play it on turn 3 for tempo. You can magnetize it onto something small like a Turnium Rover to also play for tempo. And PNC 6-5 now, ties him for third place. I think Stripecrow is the tiebreaker, but well within reach of a playoff spot.
Sounds good. Let's go ahead and check in with PNC on his victory. PNC, you there?
Hi.
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 What's up?
I'm just playing Hearthstone.
Oh, cool.
Having fun.
We're watching Hearthstone.
Cool.
What a coincidence.
Sounds
Nice.
Talk to us a little bit about your deck choice this week, choosing to bring the Warrior. Any particular reason why?
I thought it was a good bring for this week. Well, actually, Seiko did. I wanted to play I wanted to bring OTK Pala, but he convinced me to bring Warrior. I've never played Warrior before, honestly. I don't like the deck that much, but yeah.
Yeah, it seemed like you were favoring other decks for a while, and it seemed like you just started gravitating towards it. And you also have been kind of piecing together a really nice win streak. Is it because you've been changing up how you practice and prepare for GM?
It's a bit of everything. I think I've been playing like way more confident now and just trusting what I do. I don't know. I used to the first weeks were a disaster. Yeah, but now it's like everything's getting better, and yeah, I'm playing a lot more Hearthstone than before too.
Gotcha. Yeah, so you're kind of getting back into form and things are panning out. And you kind of mentioned that you had a lot of like anxiety playing on stage, or at least playing in front of the camera right now. You feel like most of that's kind of gotten past you and you've been more comfortable these past few weeks?
Yeah, for sure. Yeah.
Gotcha. Still haven't fixed the internet problems though, have you?
Yes, I did. I actually did. Yeah.
Oh,
wait,
you did?
what's wrong now?
Oh,
Yes.
okay. I wasn't sure if that was a signal, because your audio was it sounded like you were disconnecting, but it could just be the microphone there.
Oh. Yeah, the microphone's pretty bad. I'm using the webcam microphone, so.
Oh, okay, that's it.
Yeah, there you
That's
go.
it.
All right.
But I believe I did get word that you're now in sole possession of third place, because you do have the tiebreaker over Stripecrow. So
Yeah.
we're showing the standings right now. And did you expect after your rough start to see yourself in that top 3 at any point throughout the season?
I mean, not really, but I mean, this was my plan at the beginning of the tournament, but after the first 2 weeks, no, I didn't think I could be there, but
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, well, it's a nice spot to be in. Still some work to do, I think, because it's still up to a lot of things need to happen. Pretty much everybody in Division A has a small chance of making to the playoffs.
Yeah, and also I'm playing Eddie and Frozen next week, so 2 very hard opponents.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Well, seems like it's going to be a really tricky last couple of weeks or last couple of games for you. So good luck, PNC. Congrats on the victory, and we'll see you back.
Thank you.
All right. Well, there you. Thank you. Come again.